The world will never, ever be fair. Someone will always have an easier path than you. Someone will always have a more difficult path than you. Regardless of how difficult you think your path is, there's lots of people out there who have had that same path and actually won huge with that path. You're just choosing not to. And guys, if you can't understand that you have to make this decision, you are going to be in deep. So your choice is go over here and cry or put the work in now to invest in these skills. I want you to think about some of the greatest accomplishments that have ever happened in the world, okay? I'm talking about the Wright brothers inventing an airplane, Usain Bolt running a 100-meter dash, talking about some of the greatest achievements in human history. Do you think that any of these people, any single one of them, got where they want to go or accomplish what it is they set out to accomplish by going half throttle? Okay, Lewis Hamilton isn't the Formula One champion because he goes around the motherfucking racetrack at half throttle. We all got different goals. You guys think because just that your goal is smaller, you can half throttle it, and you can't.
Success is not magic. Success is not built on luck. Success is not winning the success lottery. We all know people who think like this, right? Sometimes it's even us. Sometimes we are the ones who are blaming things on magic or luck or circumstance. We're gonna say that 100 of these people have decided today that today is the day they're gonna go out and start working and grinding and building a new business. How many times do we hear that? Or substitute build a new business with build a new body or get my shit together, all right? We hear this stuff all the time. But after a few weeks or a few months, what happens? 70 of these people out of the 100, they're gonna be gone right out of the bat, okay? These people are gonna quit. It's too hard, it's too much work, it's not working out the way I wanted, it's not happening fast enough, and they're gonna start something else. And they're gonna repeat this cycle over and over and over again. Whatever the excuse may be, they quit. So right out of the gate, they have to be noticed. They feel like that if they appear to be busy and they appear to be working, that somehow success will find them. And sometimes months go by, sometimes even years go by before they finally actually even get started in this process. They'll be talking about this amazing idea they have for a business and how it's gonna revolutionize the industry, and they're gonna make all this money and they're gonna change all this, except it never happens. These are the true barstool warriors.
Pursuing success, becoming someone who is abnormal, becoming someone who sets the standard for others, becoming someone who shows the rest of the world what is possible is a very difficult path. I call it the gauntlet. You cannot develop the skills you need to win consistently without going through the mother gauntlet. Take this opportunity to recognize that the chaos in your life is actually forging you and improving you because you're choosing to press on when everybody else is falling off. This is how you look at hardships. This is how you look at frustration. You look at it as a tool that's teaching you lessons that are going to become valuable to you, maybe tomorrow, but for sure in the near future. And other motherfuckers are not going to have them because they're not willing to push on. Okay, so if you're struggling right now and you're having a hard time and you're pissed off and you're frustrated, know two things. One, you're not alone. Two, this is necessary for you to get where you want to go. And if you quit, if you falter, if you stop, all of the pain will be for nothing.
That's 70% of people. 70% of people make a relatively immediate exit. All right, now we're going to talk about another 20 of those 30. Now these people, they're hard workers. They deserve respect. They contribute. They figured out a routine. They figured out how to be effective. They listen, they learn, and they put what they learned into effect. But then something happens. Their store gets vandalized. Their business gets broken into. They end up in a car accident. A family member becomes ill. And guess what happens? They give up. And then you hear things like this. Well, you know what, guys? I really tried hard, but it just wasn't meant to be. Or you know what, guys? This is what that was my dream, but it just wasn't in the cards. And we hear that for the rest of their lives. And that's the end of their story. They punch out, they shut it down, and that's it. And guys, I want you to understand something before I go any further. This journey that you're on is hard. There's going to be way more than just one of these big tests along the way. And you need to prepare yourself now to overcome these tests and see these obstacles as tests. You want to know how I know this?
My first 10 years in business, I made $58,000 total. I made $695 a month. First 3 years, I made $0. The next 7 years, I made $695 a month for a total of about $58,000 my first 10 years in business.
Our first retail location was broken into and robbed. We both been in car accidents. I was stabbed in the face. Chris's mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And you know what? He kept at it. Chris, while his mom was in the hospital dying of cancer, would drive 3 hours from Springfield, Missouri to St. Louis every other day. But he didn't quit, and we didn't quit. He still found a way to run and maintain our business. It's dedication to the mission. You need to understand these tests are coming. And whether you face them now or you haven't, it's irrelevant. They're coming, and they're coming for you. And they're gonna take a big bite out of your ass. That's the way it goes. Don't let it sink you. We've hit the point where 90% of the initial crowd has fallen off in some way, shape, or form. What's that leave us with? It leaves us with 10%. Now, these are the people who have built businesses. They've gone through the setbacks. They continue to work hard every single day for it. But then what happens? The challenges, the things that they see as adversity, as tests start to disappear. Every day starts to blend together. Wake up, shower, coffee, emails, phone calls, meetings, dinner, TV, bedtime. That's it. It's over, and we start over again tomorrow. They get stuck in this rut and stop looking for ways to excel or move forward. They stop trying to be better. They let the routine numb their hunger, and they fade away because things became boring. And I can't stress this enough, guys. You have to learn to master the mundane, all right? These boring moments, they're what's going to sink you. In the beginning stages, when the hardships are happening, those things are the ones that encourage you and push you to be stronger, because most people can recognize them as adversity, and they're looking for a fire to keep them going. But in the mundane times, guys, these are far more dangerous because they offer up a false sense of security. They lure and lull you into a simple, docile creature who's going to fade away and become irrelevant. And that's the real problem with this time period, okay? It's hard as hell to recognize. When you catch yourself saying, you know what? Don't worry about that today. We can take care of it tomorrow. When you let a few customer issues slide because it's just a few grand in the scheme of millions of dollars. When you forget to ship something out that was supposed to be overnighted. When you forget to make that meeting that you were committed to be at. These are all clear signs. It's a slippery slope. And when you start letting these little things slide, these things that 2 years ago you prided yourself on, they add up real quick, and before you know it, you shit the bed with your reputation. It's called the grind for a reason, guys. It's grueling. You have to recognize these moments and build off of them. You have to recognize that the mundane times are just as much of adversity as the difficult times. And if you feel like everything has gone to a standstill, you need to use that as the trigger to get you into motion, all right? Getting through these mundane times are the times that will make or break you from that 10% to that 2%, which is where you want to go. So, yeah, you might have all the time in the world right now, okay? Your focus can be wholly on the future, but you got to start acting like you did when you first started. You have to find that hunger. You have to find that drive, and you have to be willing to make things happen so that you can reach that next level. I've seen more successful people ruin their entire existence, their entire life's work, from ignoring the mundane and not recognizing it as a dangerous adversity that they had in the beginning when things were challenging and things were hard, all right? So you have to recognize that, because that's going to gobble up another 8 out of these 10 guys. So if 8 out of these 10 guys, the top 10%, are going to drop off when they hit the mundane, what's that leave us with? It leaves us with 2 out of 100, only 2. And I want you guys to understand this. This is reality. This is why there's so few people that win long term. This is why. Successful people ingrain the drive into themselves. They master the mundane. They are consistent with that mastery. They understand the concepts of longevity and the adjustments that need to be made. These people don't limit this to the concept of business. Their whole lives are driven by these ideals. They don't have to tell people how successful they are because it shows. Okay, they don't believe in magic. They don't believe in luck. They don't believe in lottery. They don't believe in the success fairy. They believe that they can handle the bumps in the road no matter how big or how small. They're the ones who are going to get there early, stay there late, and you'll never hear them say anything that sounds like, they don't pay me enough to do that. Because when you're in the 2%, you're going to get what the want 100% of the time. 2% of people make it to elite for a reason. And you can recognize where you are along that scale. Where are you? Are you in that first 70%? Are you in that next 20%? Are you in that next 8%? Or are you in that 2% that never gets stale, that never loses that hunger, that never loses that drive, that never loses the will, that is constantly focusing on bettering themselves at the fundamentals while still working to innovate and find better ways to win?
This is what winners do. What you're going through, yes, I can empathize. I have a very hard time some days. Some days I don't want to do. Some days I don't do. But most of the days I do. So understand what you're going through, the pain you're feeling, it has a return if you're willing to recognize it.
Everywhere we look at society, we celebrate victimhood. We are no longer celebrating people who put in the work. We are no longer celebrating people who overcome. Instead, we are celebrating people who have the saddest story. Instead, we are talking about and competing for the attention about who suffered the most. Well, let me tell you something, guys. You can compete for that your entire life, and nobody's gonna bring you a thing except a couple likes and a couple bullshit comments that people don't mean. The real winners are still and always will be the people who aren't immune from obstacles, but instead see obstacles as an opportunity to get better. They see this as the path to winning, and they are right.
You know, I was talking with one of my buddies, David Goggins, yesterday. We were having a great conversation, and we were talking about, you know what the real problem in the world is, dude? The real problem that all of you suffer from that are listening right now, the real problem is you don't have any real problems. That's the problem. You don't have any real hard problems. Most of you listening live in America. Most of you are watching this on a $2,000 computer or a $1,000 iPhone or a $1,000 flat screen TV. You're telling me you got real mother problems? Bullshit. You have all the opportunity in the world and you don't have enough real problems, and you're finding to complain about because everybody else is complaining.
You guys make this way harder than it needs to be, because it's actually so simple that a not very smart person could understand it. This is simple. It's be a good person. It's do the right thing. It's be fair. It's do and serve other people and give more than what the you take. This is what success is all about. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, understand that it's going to come down to a very simple equation. And that equation is, how much do you contribute versus how much do you take? And if you contribute far more than what you take off the table, you are always going to be in a winning position. Anybody who's real, anybody who's built something, anybody who's become something, anybody that you look up to, I guarantee you, if you take an inventory of how much they contribute versus how much they take, they are contributing far more to literally every single person that they come in contact with on a daily basis than they take away.
It's never too late to put good habits into play so that you find yourself in a position where your life is getting better and better and better and better. There's not one thing that's great in your life that you got without having to push through something. You have to earn these things, okay? It's a competition now about who has the biggest challenges, not who's overcome the biggest challenges. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the world is going to reward people who overcome the challenges. Doing the opposite of what most people do is what's going to lead to most success in your life in general terms. You should actually be seeking out the proper obstacles that are going to teach you the lesson and embrace them so that you can be better. Because, dude, we could talk about and whine about and cry about everything in our lives, but there's only one thing that's going to change it, and that's actually taking action towards the place that you want to go. All right, so look at these as an opportunity for you to grow. And I promise, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your race is, no matter who your parents are, no matter what city you live in, no matter what, if you can understand to put the work in and develop the skills at the little things that you are doing now, and understand that those skills are going to create skills within you that you will then carry on from here to there to your ultimate path, you will win. You will win as long as you don't quit.
And no matter how much we try to soften the world down for everybody to feel like a winner, not everybody will be. The only people that are going to win are going to be the people who recognize the opportunity to improve when they get punched in the face. So if that's you, if you're sitting there at home and you're posting sad story after sad story after sad story, realize that that's all you're ever gonna have. And I would suggest that instead of seeing life through the perspective of who's going to be the biggest winner of the losers, start being who's going to be the biggest winner. There's nobility in that. There is nobility in overcoming hardship. There is nobility in overcoming obstacles. There's nobility in creating a story that other people are inspired by. There's nobility in dominating. You know why? Because it shows people, the people who are coming after you in this life, what's possible. It shows people who are coming after you in this life what they can achieve. And that isn't something that sounds good. That's our obligation. Our obligation to this planet is to make people behind us better.